Oh, which warrior cat? Yay! Congrats, Silver. Warrior cat. Wednesday. Warrior cat. Wednesday. It's been almost a month since Warrior cat Wednesday. Oh, Maddie, you got a flower. That's so nice. Van! Van, it's been so long. I'm so sorry. In my free time, I've been playing Tomodachi Life. I can be on. And I've made some of the warrior cats. It's so funny. I think I've only made 5 though. I made the 3 Holly Leaf, G Feather, and Line Blaze, and then I made Firestar and Blue Star. And then my like normal characters get crushes on them, and I'm like, what do I do? Hi, Cambion, you've never been here for Warrior Cat Wednesday. So for the past like, I don't know, like 2 years, not an hour, like maybe like, yeah, I think probably 2 years now, I've been reading Warrior Cats every Wednesday, or at least I try to every Wednesday unless something happens. At least 2 years. If you look at the top of the screen, you can see different stats. See Into the Wild, 47, New Prophecy, 23, etc., etc. Those are all the series. Hi, Brody. And that's how many times a cat has died in those books. Ooh, wow, you got like a roast beef dinner. That's nice. Congrats, Joey. A lot of death. There's a lot of death. And there's been a lot of books that we've read. As you can see, we've read... There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's kind of crazy when you really think about it. I've read through 5 series, and each one has 6 books? Is it 6 books or 5 books? 6. So how much is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 6 is 30. I've read 30 books on the stream. And right now we're on a special edition, so it's like an in-between the new series. How many more like actual series are there though? There's, I know at least 1, and then maybe like a new one that is currently ongoing, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah? Yeah, I think so too. I think they're only, yeah, they're on like one of the first few books. It's about wild cats. That's all that you gotta know. Look, they're twins. Except Silva has a little bit more. They fight, they hunt prey, there's drama, there's death, there's murder, there's forbidden love. fight, 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 fight. So, usually when I start a stream after a Warrior Cat Wednesday, or like after a week, I summarize what happened previously. We really need that this time. All in the name of the great meow meows in the sky. It's true, StarClan. All for StarClan. So previously in this book, I can actually summarize it. I still remember quite well, I think. So, they've just kind of like established the clans. That there's Wind Clan, Thunder Clan, Shadow Clan, and River Clan, and then also Sky Clan. Thank you, Tech! Oh my god, Laggy, you won! Congrats! You did it for your wife. Guys, today's Abby's birthday. So, happy birthday, Abby! Happy birthday! Laggy, take a screenshot. Another fight. Fight, 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 fight. Just like the Warrior Cats. So they just finished establishing all 5 clans. After Greywing died. And we get thrown in... Such a funny... Thank you, what I'm gonna do. Hi, Tech. And thank you for the repop. Happy birthday to Abby. Happy birthday to Abby. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to Abby. Oh, man. You'll get it one day, Cambion. Oh my gosh. Nickel Freds. Peter. Snicklefrit's the bot, too. Addiction, it's starting. So, we go into Mothflight's POV. She's kind of like this dreamy Wind Clan cat, daughter of the leader. And she gets like a dream, or she's getting like this weird feeling that she has to follow this butterfly and things are happening and she's having some weird visions. So she follows the village visions to, on this like quest to find the Moonstone, where they find out that this is how that all the medicine cat are going to communicate with the medicine, all the medicine cats are going to communicate with StarClan through the Moonstone. I need badge. And on her journey, she met this cat named Micah, and they kind of fell in love. But unfortunately, he's destined to be Sky Clan's medicine cat. Anyways, they kind of like pitched the idea to all the clans, like, hey, we need a dedicated medicine cat, and every half moon we have to go to the Moonstone and talk with StarClan. And everyone's like, yeah, right. And then she's like, there'll be a sign. The sky will split apart. And then lightning struck. And everyone was like, oh, okay. Yeah, she's right. Let's follow her lead. So they decide they're going to go do that. And then Micah and Mothwing, still like quite crushing, are like, oh, let's like travel to each clan. And hi, Miffy. Mothflight, Mothwing, Mothflight, oops, my bad. and then Moth Flight, to travel to every clan and gain like information, and so they do with Micah. And then when somewhere along that time they kind of like get a little smoochy close. Thank you, Tech. And he's like, be my mate, and she's like, yeah, I will be. And no, not the Real Warriors fan club. I want to be part of it. Do it. Do it. Oh, I like that cat. So then, what do we do? Oh yeah, then a cat from Wind Clan comes to go fetch Micah and Moth Flight, mostly Moth Flight, and is like, hey, our old grumpy guy is dying, we need your help. And so they rush back, and then Micah's like, actually, I think we can get bark from this tree on SkyClan territory. And she's like, oh, let's go get it. It'll probably help heal him. And so it shows where I am in the world. Like, it's a fun thing because my lore is like, I'm consistently traveling the world as a pop cup parade, kind of like Santa Claus. I'm in Sri Lanka! Yay! And what happens? Oh yeah, so they go into SkyClan territory, and Clear Sky's like, boo, get off of our territory. This doesn't belong to you. This is our bark. And Moth Flight is like, boo. Hi, Diggy! Oh my gosh! Welcome in! I hope you're well. I hope you've been full of happiness and joy. I have to add Diggy to my thing. I'm in Australia! That was fast. Yeah, that was pretty quick. I want to know what you're cooking. Tell me what you're cooking. What's the recipe? Ah! One scares me. You guys like fly up to explode. Whoa, Maddie! 80 stream streak? Yo! Maddie, you're crazy. I think that's the highest stream streak. I lip eye. I don't know, Silver. Didn't you miss a stream? Wowzers! What's your stream streak, Silver? The hug of pure kindness? Aw, that's so cute! Anyways, while they're in SkyClan territory, a fight ensues. I have 3 and they have 80. That's the first steps, though. 3 to... You have to get to 3 before you can get to 80. Anyway, a fight ensues. Micah falls down from the tree and gets crushed by a tree branch and dies. You gotta get to 6-7 before getting to 8-0. So true. Nearly died getting the screenshot. You're playing Deadlock? Where's the screenshot? 88! Oh my gosh. More than Maddie by 8. Don't block Diggy! Diggy's so lovely because of the 6-7. No! Where were we? Right. Diggy! Anyways, Micah's dead. Moth flight goes into grieving, the 5 stages of grief. Mostly rage, though. She kind of like loses it so bad she doesn't want to go home. She like gets invited to stay in ShadowClan's camp to like rejuvenate herself. I think she stays there for like 2 months or maybe a month and a half. I think maybe it's like almost 2 months because cats have babies, right? In less than 2 months or 2 months. She stays there long enough to realize, oh my god, I'm actually pregnant with Micah's babies. And then she's like, we have to go home. And then on her way home, she's like giving birth. Or she gets like, she's like, she suddenly is like gonna have a baby, I think. Is the diamond thing a VIP? Yes. Diamond is VIP. So wait, did she have her babies yet? She did. Okay, yeah. So last chapter, she had her babies. She gave birth. Now she has Micah's babies, and her grief is gone. They saved up to get it. Forgot about her babies. One looks like Micah, yeah. I have a redeem, and you spend, I think it's 125 channel points. 125,000 channel points to get the VIP. And it's very special because I don't give it out at all. I only give it out if you've cashed it in. I don't even give it to my friends. Liz, hi! The clown may know about your model. What about my model? Cabin, what are you saying? Babies? The kittens? You have 89k more points to go. Okay. We have... I'm on chapter 27. I don't think you get much money from kittens. Chapter 27. How many chapters are there? Oh my god, there's a manga at the back of this book. 37! Oh, 10 more chapters! Guys, there's 10 more chapters. Do you think I can get there? Maybe not. Maybe we can, though. You want me to read the manga part and I'll describe it to you? What's going on? Okay, I'm gonna start reading now. Because I'm reading, I won't be able to reply to chat as often, or if I do reply to chat, it is purely because I happen to catch my eye. I might pause to, like, say things about what's going on. I'll pause when there's a raid, if there's a raid. And... yeah. It may take me a hot minute to remember how to read, though, because I haven't read for almost a month. Don't say unhinged things. You'll be in total mercy of my mods, and they will crack the whip. The whip. Okay. Chapter 27. Okay. Let me get cut through. Racist? What are you saying? Chapter 27. I'm kind of nervous. I haven't read in so long. No? Cambion, watch yourself. You might get a little timeout for trying to stir things. Mothflight dreamed. Warm wind tugged her fur as she raced up slope, and the coarse grass grew soft beneath her paws as she neared the moor top. She stopped as she reached the crest. Meadows rolled below her, stretching towards the forest, and a river sparkled in the distance as it disappeared among the trees. Where am I? This wasn't the moor. The scent of prey washed her muzzle. A rabbit was grazing calmly on the grass a few tail lengths ahead. Mothflight imagined carrying it home to her kits. They were almost old enough for their first taste of fresh kill. She swallowed back a purr as she imagined bubbling stream's eyes lighting up at the sight of it. Spiderpaw would be the first to beg for a taste. Blue Whisker would hang back shyly, but Honeypelt would make sure she had a piece before he'd take a bite. Her heart ached with love for her kits as she thought of them. Oh my gosh. Her heart ached with love for her kits as she thought of them. They were perfect, even Spiderpaw's extra toe. Nice. Which he'd been named for, was adorable. She hopped into a hunting crouch and began to stalk silently through the grass. The rabbit didn't even twitch as she neared. This is going to be an easy catch. Yellow fur flashed at the edge of her vision. Mothflight jerked her muzzle around, her breath stopping in her throat as she saw Micah padding towards her. The rabbit, still blissfully unaware, hopped lazily away. Mothflight let it go, her gaze fixed on Micah. Can you see me? She hardly dared speak. No one ever heard her in her dreams. The last time she dreamt of Micah, he'd been wandering in mist, unable to see her. But this time Micah's eyes were fixed on her, sparkling green in the bright sunshine and filled with love. As he neared her, he quickened his pace until his scent bathed her. She closed her eyes, her heart pounding. Was she really going to speak with him? His whiskers grazed her cheek as he reached her. I have missed you so much. His words were soft in her ear. She purred, rubbing her cheek fiercely against his. I thought I'd die without you. I'm glad you didn't. He drew away and looked at her, his eyes shining. I've seen the kids. I've watched you with them. You're a wonderful mother. Joy surged beneath her pelt. Aren't they gorgeous? They remind me so much of you. Honeypelt even washes his paws the same way you did. Keep an eye on Blue Whisker, he fretted. She's so shy. Don't let the others push her around. They won't, Mothflight promised. They're protective of her, especially Spiderpaw. He won't let Slate's kits near her because she's scared of them. Micah frowned. They haven't hurt her, have they? Mothflight purred. No, of course not. But she can't understand why such big cats act like kits. I keep telling her they're still kits. I don't think she believes she'll be that big too in a few moons. Micah's green gaze darkened. I wish I was there. Grief edged his mew. It caught hold of Mothflight, twisting her heart. So do I. She hadn't felt anger since she'd left ShadowClan's camp, but rage flared in her belly now. It's not fair. Why did you have to die? In a dumb accident. Micah sighed and rested his muzzle against hers. It was my destiny. She pulled away, blinking at him. Did you know all along? No, but I see that our destinies were only ever meant to cross for a short time. His eyes glistened with love. Aren't we lucky they did? Now you have our kits. But I want you too. Mothflight couldn't push away her resentment. Micah gazed at her gravely. You must travel alone from here on. This is your path, but I will always be with you. Her vision swam with grief. How? I will be in your thoughts, in your heart, and in your dreams. He murmured, You will see me in the kits, and if you need me, you only need to close your eyes. Mothlight's throat tightened. Is that enough? She touched her nose to his softly. It would have to be. Around her, the meadows began to grow hazy. Micah's pelt grew pale, light showing through. Don't go yet, she begged. You'll see me again, he promised, his mew growing faint. Micah! Someone is coming to visit you. She could hardly hear his mew as it faded into echo. You must help her. I'm depending on you. Who? She spoke into darkness as the dream faded. Jerking awake, she lifted her head. The kids fidgeted at her belly, asleep in the starlight that filtered through the gorse. Mothlight's heart ached with longing, but warmth enfolded her. I will always be with you. As she remembered his words, his scent lingered on her tongue. With a gasp, she recognized the meadows in her dreams. StarClan's hunting grounds. He's in StarClan. A purr rumbled in her throat. Now I know that we will never be far apart. Move faster! Bubbling Stream's fur spiked with excitement as she clung to Stormpelt's shoulders. Stormpelt bounded across the tussocks, and Bubbling Stream mewled with delight. Be careful! Mothlight watched with wide eyes from the sunny patch of grass outside her den. Beside her, Slate purred. She'll be fine, she reassured Mothflight. She's only a moon old, Mothflight worried. Aren't badger rides dangerous? Blue Whisker nestled tighter against her belly. I don't ever want a badger ride, she breathed, staring in alarm at her sister as she bobbed on Stormpelt's back. Mothflight tucked her tail over Blue Whisker, relieved that at least one kit was staying close. Spiderpaw was crouching in the sandy hollow. Silverstripe crouched beside him, while Blackear paced in front, advising him on his stance. Hindquarters lower, the black and white tomkit told him, and keep your tail still or the prey will hear you coming. Silverstripe fidgeted impatiently. Can we jump yet? She begged. Not until you've got the perfect crouch, Blackear told her sternly. Is this right? Spiderpaw pressed his chin closer to the ground and stared fiercely ahead. Quite good, Blackear conceded. Pull your hind paws in tighter, and then take off, or your takeoff will be clumsy. Where's Honeypelt? Alarm flashed through Mothflight. She scanned the camp, relief swamping her as she caught sight of his yellow pelt as he burrowed under the heather wall on the far side of camp. Whitetail was beside him, squeezing under the branches. Mothflight frowned. Keeping an eye on 4 kits seemed far more exhausting than it should be. What are those two doing? Whitetail promised to show him all the secret ways out of the camp, Slate told her. I hope he's not thinking of sneaking out. Mothflight remembered hauling Silverstripe out of the rabbit hole all those moons ago. How had she been so calm? Dread gouged at her belly as she imagined one of her own kits stuck on the moor and wailing for help. She pushed the thought away. She wasn't going to let her kits out of her sight. She felt a wave of gratitude towards her clanmates. Among them, someone was always keeping an eye on Bubbling Stream, Honeypelt, Spiderpaw, and Blue Whisker. Even Holly, who was watching Bubbling Stream now, her eyes narrow with disapproval, always knew where they were and what they were up to. Rest in peace, Holly, good character. Reedtail nosed his way out of the den that Eaglefeather and Dewnos had hollowed from the heather wall of the camp. They had grown too big to share Jagged Peak and Holly's den, and had moved into their own with Stormpelt. Reedtail padded across the clearing and paused in front of Mothflight. Dewnos has retched a paw. I said R.I.P. to Holly. Holly's old character. Yeah, sad. If you don't read this book, you'll never know. She'll always be a good character.
She slipped in a rabbit hole while she was hunting. Shall I use some of the comfy from your herb store or pick fresh?
Use what we've got for now and pick some fresh later, Mothflight told him. He nodded and ducked into the gorse den behind her. Retail had been busy taking care of the clan's cuts and sprains over the past moon. Mothflight had tried to keep an eye on her clanmate's well-being, but every time she left the den to check how a scratch was healing or a sore belly was responding to Sherville Retail had given, one of her kits would start mewling with hunger, squealing for help as they climbed the den wall and got stuck among the branches. It seemed that the moment she set a paw in the clearing, a desperate wail would call back to her. You need to be tougher, Slate had told her many times. Let them wail. They're safe in camp. They'll survive while you check on your clanmates. But Mothflight couldn't relax. They've lost their father. She couldn't bear that for them without their mother as well. I mean, to be fair, so did Slate's kids. They also lost their father, huh? They have a whole clan to raise them, Slate had insisted. I don't want to be like you, Mothflight had thought. She ignored the truth. Silverpelt, Blackear, and Whitetail had grown into happy young cats despite their grieving mother. The clan had indeed raised them, giving Slate's kids all that kits ever needed: warmth, kindness, food, and protection. My kits are special, Mothflight told herself. No other cat can give them the love I can. Dang. Hi, snaps. Gently moving... I lost my spot. Oh. And so she let Retail care for the clan and told herself that in another half moon she'd be ready to return to her duties as a medicine cat. Slate nudged her from her thoughts with a paw. Look! Windrunner and Jagged Peak had padded into camp. Dapplepelt and Acornfur walked between the Wind Clan cats, glancing at each other with puzzled looks. Windrunner's expression was grim. Jagged Peak's ears twitched uneasily. Mothfly sat up, alarmed. Gently moving Blue Whisker aside, she got to her paws. What were Dapplepelt and Acornfur doing here? And why were Windrunner and Jagged Peak escorting them like prisoners? She crossed the clearing, meeting Windrunner among the tussocks. Is something wrong? Her mother's eyes were dark. I found these two wandering across the moor, she growled. We weren't wandering, Dapplepelt objected. We were coming to see Mothflight, Acornfur chipped in. Mothflight glanced at the Sky Clan medicine cat. Resentment tugged at her belly. You've taken Micah's place. She swallowed back her bitterness and met her mother's gaze. Why shouldn't they cross the moor? Jagged Peak lashed his tail. How can you ask that after everything Clear Sky's done lately? Mothflight faced the Tom. What has he done? He keeps sending hunting patrols on our land, Jagged Peak bristled. Windrunner growled. Willowtail and Jagged Peak found more rabbit remains on the border this morning. Willowtail spends too much time checking borders, Mothflight snapped. She should be hunting for her clan, not searching for gossip. Windrunner flattened her ears. Petty theft is more than gossip. Acorn's fur twitched crossly. Clear Sky hasn't sent hunting patrols. Jagged Peak curled his lip. Then why do we keep finding signs of fresh kill on the moor? Acornfur stood her ground. How do you know Sky Clan left them? Mothflight's paws pricked with anger. What a dumb argument. Greenleaf was only just beginning. No cat was hungry. Who cared whether prey was left on one side of the border or another? She glared at Windrunner. This has nothing to do with Dapplepelt and Acornfur, she snapped. They are medicine cats, not hunters. Blue Whisker scrambled across the clearing. Mothflight, she mewed as she reached her mother. Why does Windrunner look so cross? Jagged Peak glared at Acornfur. Because Sky Clan cats are thieves and liars. Blue Whisker looked at Jagged Peak with round, anxious eyes. Michael was a Sky Clan cat. Did he lie too? Jagged Peak stared at the kit, his pelt rippling uneasily. I never knew him, he mumbled. Windrunner shifted her paws. Perhaps we should save this discussion for another time. Perhaps we should not have it at all, Mothflight snapped. She dipped her head to Acornfur and Dapplepelt. I'm sorry about my clanmates. They think borders are worth fighting over. She glanced at Blue Whisker. Go back to Slate, dear. I have to speak with our visitors. Blue Whisker blinked at her mother. Will you be long? No.
Mothflight promised. She guided Dapplepelt and Acorn Fur towards the stones beside the entrance. She could feel Jagged Peak's gaze burning into her pelt. Is something wrong? She lowered her voice as they reached the rocks. Nothing, Dapplepelt assured her. The tortoiseshell's gaze drifted after Blue Whiskers.
Hello! It's Flowers Craft and Crafts Galore. Welcome in. What were you up to today?
It's been a while because I haven't been reading Warrior Cats in a long time. Like crack the break.
First rate of the day. Bum 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 bum.
Nothing, Dapplepelt assured her. The tortoiseshell's gaze drifted after Blue Whisker as she scrambled down into the sandy hollow beside her brother. Your kits are beautiful.
Reading about Pokemon today. Ooh. Did you learn anything new?
Mothflight followed her gaze, her heart swelling. Beside the hollow, bubbling stream was still urging Stormpelt to go faster. They remind me so much of Micah. They have a spirit. Acornfur's words surprised her. What do you know about Micah's spirit? Huh? Too many Pokemon. Sorry, I'm confused on the way that this is worded. Oh, I see. Okay, so Mothflight said they remind me so much of Micah. And then Acornfur said they have a spirit. Acornfur's words surprised her. What do you know about Micah's spirit? Mothflight questioned. Acornfur dropped her gaze, flinching as though Mothflight had raked her muzzle. I worked with him, she mewed quietly. He was my friend, and I miss him. We all miss him. Yeah? Mothflight snapped pointedly. Jealousy bristled through her pelt. He spoke about you all the time. Acornfur lifted her gaze cautiously. He loved you very much. I'm sorry that you lost him. Mothflight blinked, surprised by the warmth in Acornfur's mew. It's too late to be nice. She wasn't going to forgive the SkyClan cat so easily. You spied on him. Dapplepelt's tail flicked uneasily. Mothflight, I think you're being unfair. Acornfur interrupted. You're right. Clear Sky ordered me to watch him. But I knew after the first day that Micah could be trusted. He cared about his clanmates right from the start. I enjoyed working with him, and I loved helping. One time, Blossom got a thorn in her paw. It was really deep. Micah had to dig around for ages to get it out. He talked to her through the whole time, distracting her with jokes and stories of when he was a farm cat. He showed me that there was more to being a medicine cat than learning herbs. You don't just care about the wound. You must care about the cat. Her eyes rounded. He said that's why StarClan chose you, because you always knew that better than anyone. Oof. Mothflight stared at her. She suddenly understood why Micah had liked Acornfur so much. She was kind and honest and open. Mothflight dropped her gaze, her pelt prickling with guilt. How could she have judged Acornfur so harshly? She hardly knew her. Thank you, she murmured. Dapplepelt glanced to where Windrunner and Jagged Peak were crouched beside the camp wall, watching their visitors through slitted eyes.
Hi, Cambion.
We came here for a reason, she mewed. Acornfur has learned all she can from me and Cloud Spots. Pebbleheart has shared all he knows. Now it's your turn to train her, just as we trained you. Mothflight's ears twitched nervously. But I have kits now. You're still a medicine cat, Dapplepelt reminded her. She glanced back at the kits. They were playing happily with their clanmates. Slate watching them fondly. It looks like there are plenty of cats to take care of them while you're busy. Worry jabbed Mothflight's belly. I need to take care of them. They don't have a father. Acornfur shifted her paws before she spoke. Micah wants you to train me. Surprise rippled along Mothflight's spine. Someone is coming to visit you. Micah's words echoed in her mind. You must help her. I'm depending on you. He'd meant acorn fur. How do you know? She dreamed. I dreamed about him, Acorn Fur told her. He told me to come to you and that you would teach me all that I needed to learn. Mothflight blinked at her. Acorn Fur must be the SkyClan's rightful medicine cat if StarClan visited her dreams. But what about Windrunner and Clear Sky? Will they want a WindClan cat training a SkyClan cat? Acorn Fur shrugged. They don't need to know. Dapplepelt nodded. They don't understand the bond between us. They're hunters, not healers. They only understand prey.
Thank you.
Mothflight dipped her head. Micah wanted her to train Acorn Fur, and he was part of StarClan now. She couldn't go against StarClan's wishes, and she didn't want to disappoint Micah. Okay. She glanced longingly at her kits. Blue Whisker had returned to Slate's side and curled up against her. Bubbling Stream had slid off Stormpelt's back and was helping Spiderpaw catch imaginary prey in the sandy hollow. Honeypelt was chasing Whitetail towards another gap in the heather wall. They could manage without her for a little while. We might as well start now. Mac and cheese mashed totes. Mashed totes? Potatoes and chicken strips? Yummy. That's a good meal. Holy. I'm gonna open up a drink, and it's gonna make me burp, but it's okay. Gosh, not reading for so long, it hurts your jaw. I haven't read, and all my jaw's been like out of totes, because that's what it says. Tato. Oh, sorry, it says tatoes. I don't know why I said totes. Sriracha. Where have you been? Windrunner's accusing mew took Mothflight by surprise as she padded into camp. The sun was sinking towards the horizon and shooting long shadows across the clearing. Mothflight dropped the bundle of comfrey as she'd gathered, training Acorn Fur. I'm not gonna lie about it. Why you? Windrunner's hackles lifted. Surely you understand that SkyClan cats are no longer our friends. Why not? Mothflight demanded. They've been stealing our prey. Windrunner narrowed her eyes. And I'm sending patrols across their borders to hunt. What? What? Mothflight stared at her. Did her mother want to cause a war? Mothflight lifted her chin stiffly. It's important that we show them that they can't steal from us without consequences. Has anyone actually seen SkyClan stealing our prey? Mothflight demanded. Willowtail says she saw Redclaw carrying a rabbit over the border yesterday. And you believe her? How could her mother be so naive? Willowtail hates Redclaw. That doesn't make her a liar. Windrunner lashed her tail. It's not just Willowtails who's seen evidence. Fernleaf caught Redclaw's scent on her territory. Slade and Jagged Peak have seen bones too. Are they liars? Of course not. But if SkyClan cats caught a rabbit or two on WindClan territory, who cared? Still, Mothflight swallowed back anger. She didn't want to get drawn into her mother's argument with SkyClan. Her duty was to heal cats, not fight with them. I'm going to teach Acorn Fur what I know, she mewed stubbornly. Windrunner's pelt prickled. I'm just worried about you, Mothflight. If Clear Sky catches you with one of his cats, who knows what he'll do? I've known him for a long time. He's capable of more cruelty than you can imagine. Then it's important that his medicine cat is well trained, Mothflight argued. If she can earn his respect, she may be able to guide him. No one's ever managed to guide Clear Sky before, Windrunner pointed out. Acorn Fur has StarClan on her side. They want me to train her. They spoke to you? Micah did, Mothflight told her. He spoke to Acorn Fur too. Micah's not StarClan. What? What does that even mean? How would you know that, girl? Mothflight's throat tightened. He is now. Windrunner gazed at her helplessly. Then you're gonna keep on training her? Yes. Mothflight scooped up the comfrey and headed for her den. If Michael wanted her to train Acorn Fur, then nothing would stop her. As the days lengthened, Mothflight kept her word. Each afternoon, she'd leave Slate in charge of her kits and slip out of camp. She was aware of Windrunner's gaze following her, dark with worry, but she ignored it, racing to the patch of grass on the moor side where she met Acorn Fur. This afternoon, clouds hid the sun and a thin drizzle misted the moor. Mothflight fluffed out her pelt, hoping Slate would keep the kits in the den. The air was warm, but a wet pelt could mean a chill. She was getting used to being away from them, but she enjoyed their welcome each time she returned home. When they'd clamor over her, purring and begging for badger rides or a game of chase tail. She blinked away raindrops and scanned the moorside. There was no sign of Acorn Fur and no scent either. She glanced at the darkening sky, wondering whether, with the sun hidden, the SkyClan medicine cat had lost track of time. Acorn Fur was a quick learner, just as Micah had said, and she seemed to have a deep understanding of suffering as well as a burning need to ease it. Teaching such a willing apprentice had been fulfilling and... Where was I? Teaching such a willing apprentice had been fulfilling, and in going over her knowledge in such depth, Mothflight had renewed her own delight in her healing skills. Was it time she relieved Retail of some of his duties? She frowned. She already felt that she spent too much time away from her kits. She gazed towards the forest, impatience fizzing beneath her pelt. Where are you? It wasn't like Acorn Fur to be late. She was usually pacing the hillside, waiting. By the time Mothflight arrived, unease jabbed her belly. Perhaps Acorn Fur couldn't come. Her fur tingled with worry. Had Clear Sky found out about their meetings? He can't stop her from learning. She headed down slope as the rain thickened, heading for the SkyClan border. Does he think his wishes are more important than StarClan's? Anger pulsed through her paws as she crossed the wet grass. The pungent scent of SkyClan markers washed her muzzle as she neared the ferns that edged the trees. She pushed through the dripping fronds, padding into the shelter of the woods. She glanced around, wondering where SkyClan's camp lay. She had to know where Acorn Fur was. If Clear Sky was stopping her, someone needed to explain to the rabbit-brained leader how important it was for his medicine cat to learn everything she could. Sniffing the ground, she smelled paw prints and began to follow them. They must eventually lead to camp. She trailed around a bramble and between two fallen trees. Ducking beneath a branch, she smelled more paw prints. She must be getting close. She could see a glade ahead where rain dripped through the canopy. I hope he hasn't hurt her. She suddenly remembered her mother's warning. It's capable of more cruelty than you can imagine. Mothflight pushed the words away. She wasn't going to be bullied. She had StarClan on her side. As she slid through the clumps of ferns, a hiss made her freeze. Tortoiseshell fur flashed at the corner of her vision. Something hard slammed into her flank and knocked her, sprawling, to the ground. Panic flared beneath Mothflight's pelt as she scrambled to her paws. The scent of a SkyClan she-cat filled the air. Jerking around, she saw Sparrow Fur glaring at her, hackles rise. Sparrow Fur! Ah, yes, the struggling single mother book. So true. Sparrow Fur, what happened? What are you doing on SkyClan's land? The tortoiseshell's eyes flashed with suspicion. I'm Mothflight, she growled. I know who you are, the tortoiseshell returned. Then you know I'm a medicine cat. I can walk where I please. No one walks in this forest without Clear Sky's permission, Sparrowfur growled. Since when? Since he said so. Frustration surged in Mothflight's belly. I've come to find Acorn Fur. Perhaps if she explained that she was worried about her clanmate, Sparrowfur would understand. Acorn Fur is in camp, doing what she's supposed to do. Which is? She demanded. Taking care of her clanmates. But I haven't finished training her. Sparrowfur's tail swished ominously. She's had all the training she's gonna get. Mothflight didn't understand. Don't you want her to be the best medicine cat she can be? Just because Clear Sky was a rabbit brain didn't mean his whole clan had to act dumb. What I want doesn't matter. Sparrowfur snarled. Clear Sky is my leader, and I follow his orders. And his orders are that no cat should cross the border, especially not a WindClan cat. Fury scorched Mothflight's belly. I'm not here to hunt. StarClan ordered me to train Acornfur, and that's what I'm going to do. She headed past Sparrowfur. The SkyClan she-cat dodged ahead of her. She glared at the tortoiseshell angrily. Get out of my way! I have to... She stopped, surprised to see worry clouding Sparrowfur's gaze. You have to leave! Lowering her voice, Sparrowfur glanced nervously over her shoulders. Why? Clear Sky will rip you to shreds if you reach the camp, she warned, and then he'll rip me to shreds for letting you. Oof. Mothflight halted. He hasn't hurt Acornfur, has he? No! Sparrowfur looked indignant, but he's angry that she's been sneaking into WindClan land to train with you. How can he prove that we don't cross the border if she trails SkyClan sent all over the moor side? But you do cross the border, Mothflight accused. Willowtail's seen you. She hasn't seen me, Sparrowfur snapped. SkyClan clans don't hunt in other clans' lands. Not like WindClan. We found Jagged Pete's fur caught on a bramble this morning, and fresh kill blood less than a tail length away. Mothflight growled under her breath. Windrunner must have sent him to teach Clear Sky a lesson. She'd only made the situation worse. But I'm a medicine cat, she insisted. We need to be able to travel into each other's territory. How else will I get catmint from the two-leg place? And how can Acornfur get to the Moonstone without crossing the moor? That's not my problem. Sparrowfur began to guide Mothflight towards the border. What if something happens to Acornfur and you need my help? Reluctantly, Mothflight let Sparrowfur steer her back along the trail. The tortoiseshell clearly wasn't going to let her pass without a fight, and she didn't want to get into trouble with Clear Sky. To get her into trouble with Clear Sky. Nothing's going to happen to Acornfur as long as she stops training with you. Mothflight blinked at the tortoiseshell as they reached the border. This is the dumbest decision ever. Sparrowfur flicked her tail towards the moor. Just go home. Mothflight saw doubt in her gaze. You think he's wrong, don't you? Sparrowfur looked away. He's my leader, she growled and stalked back into the forest. Blood roared in Mothflight's ears. If the clan started guarding their territory like this, how could the medicine cats share their knowledge? Half Moon's words rang in her mind. Every clan's destiny depends on you, though they don't know it yet. Why didn't Clear Sky understand? His medicine cat had to go where she was needed. There will come a time when they will listen to you and you alone. I can tell you this, but it's up to you to earn their respect. How? Helplessness swamped Mothflight. She had to persuade Windrunner and Clear Sky that cats' lives were more important than borders. StarClan, what can I do? Chapter 28. That was a long chapter.
Is this the peak I've been heard about? The game peak? Chapter 28. Mothflight threaded among the rustling bracken stems, following her clanmates into 4 trees, where the full moon blanched the clearing. The scents of RiverClan and ThunderClan swirled on the warm evening breeze. She scanned the cats below, recognizing Thunder and River Ripple among the cats gathered, dipping their heads in greeting, while their clanmates clustered in groups, heads close as they shared gossip. Silverstripe and Blackear stampeded past Mothflight, Whitetail leading, their tails flapping excitedly. It was their first full moon gathering. They'd been restless all day, excited at the thought of seeing new faces and smelling new scents. Slow down, Slate hurried at their heels, her fur rippling anxiously along her spine as her kits burst into the clearing. Eyes flashed in the moonlight as muzzles jerked around, clearly surprised by the commotion. Slate dodged in front of Whitetail, hissing sternly. Calm down. I don't want RiverClan and ThunderClan thinking I raised a pack of foxes.
As the break-in thinned around her, Mothflight's thoughts flashed to her own kits back at camp. Rocky had promised to watch them and make sure they were tucked into their nests by the time she returned. Spotted Fur and Holly had also stayed behind with Eagle Feather, Fernleaf, Reedtail, and Stormpelt. With border tensions running high, Windrunner had not wanted to leave the camp unguarded, and, for once, Mothflight was grateful for her mother's caution. Not that she believed SkyClan would attack, but if a stray dog or hungry fox found their way into camp, she knew her kits would be well protected. This was her first gathering in moons, and the first time she'd seen the other medicine cats together since the last time she traveled to the Moonstones with Micah. She quickened her pace, falling in beside Dust Muzzle. Her clanmates flanked them, moving wordlessly through the break-in. There was tension in their hunched shoulders and flicking tails as they neared the bottom of the slope. Windrunner led the way into the clearing, her eyes narrowed. Mothflight knew that her mother had come to settle scores, and anxiety wormed in her belly. Please let her remember the full moon truce. She glanced at the brambly slope at the other side of the clearing, looking for signs of SkyClan, but Clear Sky hadn't arrived yet, and the woods beyond were eerily silent. Mothflight! Following Dust Muzzle from the break-in, she recognized Dapplepelt's Mew. The River Can medicine cat was hurrying towards her, Cloudspots at her heel. As Dust Muzzle followed Windrunner into the throng of cats, Dapplepelt stopped in front of Mothflight. Her eyes shone. How are the kids? They're well, Mothflight told her. In the moons since they'd been born, they'd grown more boisterous every day. Even Blue Whisker had started exploring the camp with her littermates. Only that morning, the yellow and white she-kit had climbed the stones beside the camp entrance and called to Mothflight from the top, her fur fluffed with delight. Cloudspots jerked Mothflight from the memory, flicking his tail happily.
Dapplepelt said they have Micah's coloring.
Honeypelt looks just like him, Mothflight told him proudly. Cloudspots purred.
Sure Micah's watching them from StarClan.
He is. Happiness surged through Mothflight as she remembered her dream. Silverstripe's excited mew sounded behind her. Please, can we talk to the others? She turned to see the pale tabby pacing around her brothers. Blackgear was staring wide-eyed at the gathering cats, while Whitetail gazed around thoughtfully, his nose twitching. RiverClan cats smell funny, he commented. Hush! Slate lowered her voice. They smell a bit fishy, that's all. I want to ask them if they really swim, Silverstripe whispered. Mothflight nodded towards a pair of RiverClan cats. Go and talk to Drizzle. She spotted the gray and white she-kit, a young cat now, standing beside her brother. Pine Needles had grown. His shoulders were broader and his black pelt was as sleek as an otter's. He stared around the clearing, his eyes round. Mothflight wondered if it was his first time at a gathering too. Silverstripe patted impatiently around Slate. Can we? She begged. Blackgear was already crossing the clearing towards the young cats. Slate's ears twitched. Of course. Silverstripe hared after her brother, Whitetail at her heels. Don't forget to be polite, Slate called after them. Dapplepelt watched the young cats race away. Greywing would have been proud of them. Slate blinked at her sadly. He always wanted kits of his own, she murmured. Just wish he'd had a chance to watch them grow. Mothflight swept her tail along Slate's spine. He's probably watching over them now, just like Micah watches over our kits. Windrunner's angry mew rang across the clearing. She faced Thunder, her eyes flashing accusingly in the moonlight. I knew you'd defend him. River Ripple paddled between the two leaders. We should wait and let Clear Sky speak for himself. Windrunner scowled. I've heard enough lies from him. As she spoke, glass swished at the top of the hollow. Lithe bodies swarmed down the far slope. Clear Sky? Mothflight stiffened. Would Windrunner manage to keep her temper? Would she openly accuse the SkyClan leader of sending hunting patrols onto their land? And what would happen when Clear Sky accused her in return? ShadowClan's scent washed over her as she recognized Tall Shadow's pelt. Hardly more than a shadow in the long grass. Dapplepelt eyed Mothflight anxiously. Are there still hunting disputes between WindClan and SkyClan? Yes. Mothflight's pelt prickled. Clear Sky's has banned any cat from crossing his border. Catspots blinked. How will you fetch Catmint from Two Leg Place? Dapplepelt didn't give her a chance to answer. What about Acorn Fur? Did you finish training her? Mothflight dropped her gaze guiltily. I tried, but Clear Sky wouldn't let her leave, and I couldn't get past the border to see her. She watched the ShadowClan cats weave among the waiting cats, greeting them with nods and flicks of their tails. Murmured gossip hummed in the evening air. Shattered Ice gazed grimly at Mudpaws.
Clear Sky's patrolling his borders again.
Pebbleheart was turned away when he tried to gather borage, Juniper Branch told Milkweed. Mothflight saw Pelts ripple with apprehension. Milkweed glanced nervously towards the bramble-covered slope where SkyClan usually made its entrance. Dawn mist moved closer to Drizzle and Pine Needle. Pebbleheart reached the medicine cats, his eyes round with worry. I thought the prey dispute would have blown over by now, but it's gotten worse. Mothflight's ears twitched uneasily. Clear Sky stopped me from training Acorn Fur, she told him. He won't let any cat cross his border. He's been sending hunting patrols onto our land again. Pebbleheart's gaze darkened. Sparrowfur and Acorn Fur both say that Clear Sky hasn't sent hunting patrols onto our land, but Willowtail swears she's seen Redclaw taking WindClan prey across the border. Mothflight glanced at Willowtail. The pale tabby stood in a circle of ThunderClan and RiverClan cats, her eyes flashing with malice as she talked. Mothflight's belly tightened. Why was she so determined to stir up trouble? She lowered her voice. Windrunners started sending hunting patrols into SkyClan land to teach Clear Sky a lesson. Pebbleheart's tail twitched. This needs to stop now, before it gets serious. He glanced up the slope hopefully. Perhaps when Clear Sky arrives... Ooh, I lost my spot. Perhaps when Clear Sky arrives, we can talk some sense into him and Windrunner. Mothflight's heart lurched. Do you think they're ready to listen to us? She glanced at Cloudspots and Dapplepelt. How much influence did any of them have over their leaders? Cloudspots swished his tail.
We speak for StarClan.
Dapplepelt frowned. From what I heard, Clear Sky has no time for StarClan. Pebbleheart glanced at the stars sparkling overhead. They're his ancestors as well as ours. We should hold the meeting without him. Windrunner's angry mew ran once more across the clearing. As Mothflight turned, the WindClan leader shouldered her way through the crowd and leaped onto the great rock. Windrunner glared at Thunder, River Ripple, and Tall Shadow. Why should we show him respect by waiting when he shows us none by being late? She lashed her tail, her brown pelt pale in the moonlight. He probably won't come at all. That's how little he values us. Tall Shadow weaved past Juniper Branch and Milkweed, glancing at Sun Shadow before jumping up beside Windrunner. River Ripple followed slowly, his pelt ruffled. Thunder hesitated, checking the SkyClan slope once more before leaping onto the rock. Windrunner's gaze swept the clans as cats crowded closer and raised their muzzles to their leaders. We must treat Clear Sky as he has been treated. As he's treating us, she yowled. If he wants to stop all cats from crossing his land, then we must turn our tails on him. Thunder stared at her, his ears twitching. What do you mean? From now on, SkyClan is not one of us. Windrunner showed her teeth. They do not exist. They must survive alone. Guess that's why SkyClan doesn't exist anymore. No! Thunder bristled. Clear Sky must have closed his borders for a good reason. You say he's being hostile. For all we know, he's simply defending his land. You claim that SkyClan has stolen prey from you. But where's your proof? They're not even here to defend themselves. River Ripple nodded. Clear Sky should at least be given a fair hearing. Why? Tall Shadow narrowed her eyes. He hasn't even shown up. Clearly, he doesn't consider himself one of us. Of course you defend him, Thunder. He's your father. But why should we doubt Windrunner's word? She's never lied before. Clear Sky's been lying since he was a kid. Have you forgotten his treachery to Greywing? He started the great battle. We have been patient with him for long enough. We will be stronger without SkyClan. Stronger without SkyClan? Outrage surged in Mothflight's belly. Didn't these cats realize that banishing a clan would be like pulling a woven twig from a nest? Each twig made it strong. Once he began to unravel it, the whole nest might collapse. We cannot turn our tails on another clan. She was shocked to hear her own voice ring loudly across the clearing. Eyes flashed towards her. Dapplepelt lifted her chin. We came from the mountains together. We share blood and memories. Unite or die, Cladspots yowled. Don't you remember the great battle? Spirit Cats told us afterwards that we could not live without each other. Unite or die, Thunder stepped to the edge of the rock. If we are to survive, we must act together. This dispute must be ended with words, not deeds. Words? Windrunner spat. Since when did Clear Sky ever resolve anything with words? He only knows how to use his claws, and this is the only way we can avoid battle. We must shun Clear Sky before he starts another war. Mothflight stared at her mother. What about the rest of SkyClan? It's they who will suffer if we abandon them. Willowtail called from among the crowd. How will they suffer? They won't starve. They have enough prey in the forest. Shattered Ice lifted his muzzle. Clear Skies always cause trouble for the clans. Without him, we can have peace. But their medicine cat hasn't finished her training. Mothflight whisked her tail angrily. Who will care for their sick? And what if they need herbs that only grow beside the river or on the moor? Do we turn them away and let their clanmates die? Juniper Branch spoke up. The clans must work together. I only survived my kidding because Mothflight helped Pebbleheart. Now I have 3 healthy kids. Muted murmurs of agreement rippled through the clans. Whitetail silenced them. A few moons ago, we didn't even have medicine cats. We survived then. We'll survive now. Mothflight swung her gaze towards the she-cat. StarClan ordered us to care for our clans. Would you go against StarClan? Why not? Willowtail snapped. They're dead. They know nothing about the living. That's not true. Mothflight lashed her tail. They watch over us. Oh my god, I'm getting the drama! I know, there's so much drama. Oh no, guys, I'm getting the thing I get when my sleep apnea didn't work well last night, which is true because my cat was yowling so much, so I took it off. But I'm getting sleepy. It's overwhelming. It's okay, I'm keeping going though. At least I just have to focus on the words. I say it and then I forget where the words are. Drink 3 espressos! Caffeine doesn't work on me. Only the sugar. And I'm drinking a Coca-Cola. So that should work, but my head's all clouded with cotton. Where was I? They're dead. They know nothing about the living. That's not true. Mothflight lashed her tail. They watch over us. River Ripple nudged past Thunder, his eyes glittering with starlight. StarClan brought peace. They see things we cannot. He stared at Willowtail. Do you think you know better than they will? Oh, do you think you know better than they do? Willowtail looked away, her pelt rippling. Thunder glanced gratefully at the River Clan leader. We cannot make hasty decisions without speaking to Clear Sky. Windrunner growled. It's not your border that Clear Sky's crossed. It's not your prey he's stolen. It's clear that he wants to push us into war. I'm only suggesting a way that a battle might be avoided. By cutting him off, we're sending a strong message. We won't fight him. We won't patrol our borders and protect our land. Oh wait, we will patrol our borders and protect our land, but we will not fight. He is on his own. She glared suddenly at Mothflight. And that means medicine cats too. You will not share your knowledge with Acorn Fur. You must go to the Moonstone without her. She is forbidden from your meetings. Mothflight's hackles lifted. You don't have the right to decide that. She opened her mouth to object, but Windrunner pressed on. This is the best way to stop Clear Sky. You've seen him drag us into war before. Help me stop him from doing it again. As her gaze swept beseechingly over the clans, yowls of agreement filled the still night air. Cut him off! Forget SkyClan! Mothflight blinked at her mother. Was she really going to deprive SkyClan of help and healing? What would StarClan say? She glanced around her clanmates, disappointment weighing in her chest. Junos and Swiftmen were joining in with the cheering. Horsefur lifted his muzzle.
It's the only way to avoid war.
Oh, wait.
It's the only way to avoid war.
Mothlight stared at her father in disbelief. Windrunner was hot-headed, but Horsefur had always tempered her rashness with reason. Why was he going along with her madness? A yowl sounded at the top of the hollow. The clans fell silent, their eyes flashing as they turned to the slope to see who had called. Sparrowfur was herring down the slope. Help! The gathered cats parted and led a race to the center. The tortoiseshell gazed around, her eyes wide with terror. Where's Mothflight? Pebbleheart? She scanned the clans desperately. Mothflight pushed her way through the cats, Pebbleheart at her heels. What's happened? Sparrowfur stared at her. Tiny Branch is hurt. He got his paw trapped. There was a fox. We fought it off, but Tiny Branch... Dapplepelt burst from the crowd. Was he bitten? Sparrowfur nodded, her eyes wild. It's bad. We've carried him back to camp, but he's unconscious.
Foxbite. Foxbites cause infection.
Cloudspots nosed his way past Dapplepelt.
They must be treated at once.
Sparrowfur was trembling. Acornfur can't stop the bleeding. Mothflight's heart lurched. Tiny Branch was less than 6 moons old. If the blood loss didn't kill him, the shock might. Come on! She began to race for the side of the hollow. Windrunner's snarl made her stop. Where are you going? I have to help Tiny Branch. She skidded to a halt and glared at Windrunner. I told you. SkyClan's on their own. Windrunner's eyes blazed with fury. You decided that, Mothflight hissed. I'm a medicine cat. I won't stand by and let cats die. Shocked mews sounded around her. She can't go. She must. What about the kids?
That's Clear Sky's problem.
Shattered Ice blocked her path.
Clear Sky must learn that he can't push the other clans away.
Mothflight flexed her claws. Get out of my way. A low grumble rumbled behind her. Dust Muzzle stalked past and faced Shattered Ice.
Let her pass.
Tiny Branch shouldn't have to pay for his father's mistakes. He looked meaningfully at Thunder. Thunder dropped his gaze. Let her go, Shattering Ice. Shattering Ice glared at Thunder, hackles rised.
You're not my leader, but I am.
River Ripple stepped forward. Let her pass. Growling, Shattered Ice backed away. Mothflight glanced at Dust Muzzle. Thank you. Breaking into a run, she pelted up the slope. Sparrowfur charged after her. Cloudspots, Dapplepelt, and Pebbleheart at his heels. Sparrowfur dodged in front of her as they reached the top of the slope. Follow me! Zigzagging past brambles and leaping logs, she blazed a winding trail through the thick moorland. Mothflight's chest burned as she raced to keep up. Behind her, she could hear the thrumming paw steps of Cloudspots, Dapplepelt, and Pebbleheart. As the forest floor began to slope down, she recognized the glade where Sparrowfur had stopped her and sent her home only a few days earlier. The tortoiseshell crossed it and headed for a thick clump of brambles. Ducking through the small gap on the edge, she disappeared. Mothflight narrowed her eyes against the prickly stalks and followed her through, surprised to find herself emerging into a small hollow edged by trees and lush ferns. Clear Sky stood in the center. Starflower trembled beside him. The rest of the SkyClan ringed around him, their horrified gazes fixed on a blood-soaked scrap of fur lying at Clear Sky's paws. Tiny Branch! Mothflight scrambled to a halt and crouched beside the kit. She could hear her own heart pounding in her ears as she swiftly scanned his body. There were deep teeth wounds in his flank. His hind paw was twisted and bloody, and though it had been yanked from a thorn bush. His eyes were closed, flickering silently. His muzzle was clumped with dry blood. She smelled the sharp tang of horsetail and marigold rising from Tiny Branch's wounds. Dried green pulp showed on his bloody fur. Acorn Fur had clearly been trying to treat him for some time. Mothflight glanced at Clear Sky. Where's Acorn Fur? She went to find cobwebs. Clear Sky's mew was tight. Mothflight pictured the Sky Clan medicine cat struggling alone to help Tiny Branch. Sympathy pricked her heart. She wasn't trained to deal with injuries as bad as this. She must be terrified. She should have sent for help sooner. Clear Sky's tail twitched. Sky Clan doesn't ask for help unless there's no choice. Did you stop her? Mothflight angrily swallowed back the words. Picking a fight with Clear Sky wouldn't help Tiny Branch. Starflower didn't retch her gaze from her kit. Will he be okay? Mothflight didn't answer. Where's the herb store? Clear Sky stared at her blankly. I don't think she has one. Redclaw stepped forward. She's been gathering herbs for a while, he told his leader. Mothflight turned to the dark red Tom. Where are they? Redclaw began to lead the way to a short, steep slope where roots from an oak snaked into the earth. He didn't even know that his medicine cat was keeping herbs. Hello? Is this, a secret? Is this a trick? No, he's bloody, so... I'll go with him. Bring every herb he's got, Mothflight told her. She glanced at Pebbleheart. What can we do? She wasn't sure which wound to treat first. Pebbleheart crouched beside Tiny Branch while Cloud Spots shooed the clan backwards, making room on the kit's other side. Pebbleheart pressed her paws on the brightest wound, where blood was still welling. We need to stop this bleeding first. It's the worst injury. Mothflight slipped her paws under her. I'll press the back while you check the rest of him. Warmth oozed under her pads. Fear flashed beneath her pelt, but she ignored it. Clear Spot sniffed Tiny Branch's mangled hind paw. This needs wet nettle to take down the swelling. Mothflight looked towards the slope, relieved to see Dapplepelt hurrying back, a wad of leaves in her jaws. Are there any nettles in there? Mothflight asked. Dapplepelt dropped the herbs beside her. No. Dapplepelt began to sort through the pile. It's mainly chervil and borage. Mothflight stiffened, frustration flaring through her. If only she'd been allowed to finish training Acorn Fur. Her store would be fully stocked. She avoided Clear Sky's gaze, swallowing back anger. Tiny Branches is kit. This wasn't the time to argue about borders. There's some time here, Dapplepelt mewed hopefully. Mothflight frowned at the unconscious kit. He can't chew anything. We could put a sprig under his tongue, Pebbleheart suggested. That's better than nothing. Mothflight pressed hard on the wound as Pebbleheart slipped a claw between Tiny Branch's lips and very gently levered his jaw open. Alarm spiked in her belly. The kit's breathing was so weak she could hardly feel his flank move. He was as limp as dead prey. She watched, her mouth dry, as Pebbleheart slid a time stalk beneath the kit's tongue. You're here! Acorn Fur burst into camp. Mothflight saw relief glistening in the Sky Clan medicine cat's gaze. Cobweb swathed her forepaws as she hurried over and peeled them off. Pebbleheart took them from her and began stuffing shreds into the bloodiest wound. He looked at Acorn Fur. Put your paws here. As she pressed the cobwebs deep into the bloody flesh, Pebbleheart ripped the remaining wad into two and gave one half to Cloud Spots. Between them, they wrapped every graze and bite they could see. Mothflight leaned down and listened to Tiny Branch's chest. There was no bubbling inside, but his heart was fluttering like a trapped bird, weak with exhaustion. Her belly tightened. She glanced at Starflower. The golden tabby she-cat must have seen the despair in her gaze. She recoiled, pressing her muzzle into Clear Sky's shoulder. Clear Sky's dark gaze swept the medicine cats, then fixed on Mothflight.
He'll live, won't he?
Tiny Branch suddenly whimpered. His eyes flickered open for a moment, then he jerked and fell still. Clear Sky stared at him, his mouth open. Mothflight pressed an ear to Tiny Branch's chest.
Wait, I didn't expect that to happen. What?
It jolted me awake briefly. Mothflight pressed her ear to Tiny Branch's chest once again. Nothing. Her thoughts raced to her own kits. Were they safely tucked up with Rocky? What if a fox had gotten into camp? What if one of them had been wandering alone on the moor? Panic tugged at her belly. She needed to see them. She had to know that they were okay. But first, she had to tell Clear Sky his son was dead. Oh my god. She looked at the Sky Clan leader, pity twisting her heart. I'm so sorry. His eyes clouded. Pain flared in their blue depths. Mothflight was startled to see the tough clan leader sway on his paws. Starflower rocked beside him, her nose buried deep in his pelt. Oh, we gotta add one to the count list.
2. Nice.
Their clanmates began to move around them. Blossom tugged a clump of damp moss from between the roots of a tree and carried it to Tiny Branch's body. Gently, she began to wipe the blood from his fur. Thorn and Quickwater pressed against Starflower, supporting her as Clear Sky stepped away and crouched beside their dead kit. He rested his nose softly on the kit's head. I should have been there, my son. I should have saved you. Mothflight glanced at Acorn Fur. The Sky Clan medicine cat was staring bleakly at her leader. Mothflight got to her paws and pressed her nose to the brown she-cat's cheek. I don't think any of us could have saved him, she murmured. If only I had more cobwebs in my den, she mewed thickly. Pebbleheart straightened. It would have taken more than cobwebs. He's with StarClan now. Dapplepelt gazed sympathetically at Acorn Fur. You did all you could. The tugging in Mothflight's belly grew stronger. I have to see my kits. Guilt flashed through her as Clear Sky jerked up his nose and stared at her. I'm sorry. She began to apologize, but he cut her off.
Go to them,
he growled hoarsely. She backed towards the entrance, grief tearing at her heart. I wish we could have come straight away. Clear Sky's gaze hardened. Why didn't you? Mothflight froze. She felt the anxious gaze of the other medicine cats flash towards her. Sparrowfur stepped forward. Windrunner didn't want her to come, she mumbled. She said that Sky Clan was on its own. Clear Sky straightened, the muscles on his broad shoulders rippling. Starflower padded forward shakily. She was gonna let a kit die? It's not that simple. Fear flashed through Mothflight. She only wanted peace. You need to speak with Windrunner. Starflower's green gaze brimmed with pain. She turned away. Clear Sky blinked at Mothflight. You should go, he growled. Your kits need you. Her heart pounding, Mothflight turned and raced out of camp. The scent of Tiny Branch's blood lingered on her tongue. My kits! She had to know if they were safe. She harried through the forest, her paws skidding on fallen leaves as she swerved among the brambles and ferns. She broke from the forest and pelted onto the moor. She needed to smell her kits and feel their warmth against her muzzle. Her gaze fixed on the distant hollow. Her gaze fixed on the distant hollow, she pushed against the coarse grass, racing breathlessly upslope. Bursting into camp, she bounded over the moonlit tussocks and ducked into her den. Rocky lifted his head sleepily and blinked at her. The kits were curled against his belly. I told you I'd have them tucked in by the time you got home. Peace unfolded Mothlight as she gazed at her beautiful kits. Spiderpaw stirred in his sleep, stretching a paw to rest it on Bubbling Stream's muzzle. Bubbling Stream pushed it off and rolled over, a tiny whimper escaping as she snuggled against Blue Whisker's pelt. Mothlight patted closer, breathing in their milky scent. She closed her eyes and lifted her muzzle. Thank you, StarClan, for keeping them safe.
Holy moly! Ooh.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Cat soap opera. Dang. It's like, sorry, we couldn't come to the gathering. A baby was dying. Jeez. But they're all like, he's abandoned us. Thank you for the hydrate. I don't have anything to hydrate myself with. I only have dehydrate. I'm sorry, I don't have water with me. Okay, how long is chapter 26? Why are these chapters so long? Oh my god. This chapter is, okay, 43. Chapter's 20 pages. Am I that awake? I don't think I'm that awake. No. I have to do it. I have to push myself. These nature sounds are putting me to sleep. I need to wake myself up a little. I know what to do. Cat, game, brushing. Okay. It has jump scares in it, so it'll surely wake me up. I saw someone try to do this and they couldn't get one brush in. It was so weird. I wonder whose cat this is. I am playing that game. And I'm doing it... You can't see. It's yours? Fine, you can watch if you want to. Window capture 3. Here. You guys can watch. I'm too big. There. Ooh, this is an interesting kind of setup, huh? Perusing the web?
Not this game. I'm trying to wake myself up. Ah! God, that scared me. What? Okay, that was a cheat. I've trained with Tomodachi Life in red light, green light. Oops. What's samurai sword? Does it wake you up really fast? I'll listen to it in this. 83, my favorite number! I've gotten past... What was my highest? 120, I think. Oops. I think it was 130 because I couldn't get past... Rude. Wait, I have an idea. Okay, it didn't work. I put my speed of my mouse on the max and it was like flinging across. It's too hard. This is my Flappy Bird. Wonder if my eye... you hold down to brush and then you move it back and forth. Like click and hold. You should try it. This is training. Can you just keep... Yeah, but then it doesn't brush. See? Doesn't brush. Wait, what are you saying? No, you have to stop moving it completely. Oh, let's try, I guess. Oh? No, yeah, see? If he sees you moving, it's kind of like you have to freeze. What is this called? Samurai... Oops. Cookie Run Kingdom? Gavis? What is it? Samurai... Song... Microphones. Samurai Sword Microphones. I think this is gonna be hard. Oh, an elephant! Hard metal? Let's go. Oh, it's... Ah! Oh my god.
I blast you guys' eardrums? I can see how that might wake you up. Songs that wake you up. Perfect volume of true, according to science.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
What? Your new morning alarm.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go! Get up, and get the guy go. Time to wake up, bitch, get up. Get up, get up.
This is how I dance. Nice. When you wake up late and you have to go to school in less than 30 minutes. This does feel like Panic. Do you think it gets more intense? Panic-inducing. When you need to finish tasks in less than 30 minutes. Is this AI? 2 years ago, AI wasn't big then. Jazz is not boring playlist. Ooh. Jazz just sounds like VN music. I should play Deadlock listening to this. Is bro playing a fire extinguisher? He is! Isn't he good?
what the heck just happened moments. This is called a playlist for truly what the heck just happened moments. Thank you for the like, Insane! This one's called Where Are My Car Keys? This one's called Please Calm Down. Don't worry. Please calm down. Not AI. Sad that we have to put that. Okay. Whew. I'm awake. I can read one more chapter. Let's go. Let's go! Oh, look. You can see my beautiful thing. That's where I read. What is that thumbnail? I don't know. Someone from a video game? Korean Bitrum. Oh. Alright, reading time. Chapter 29! We're ending in 30. Guys, time me. Let's see how long it takes for me to read 20 pages. Maybe not interrupted, maybe interrupted. Slate! Mothflight called across the clearing. Will you keep an eye on my kits while I check on Rocky? Honeypelt slid under her belly. We don't need anyone to watch us. We're nearly 2 moons old. Mothflight smoothed his ruffled fur, sweeping her tail along his spine. I just want to know someone's looking out for you. Spiderpaw sniffed. What can happen to us in camp? Bubbling stream was rolling in the sun-warm earth of the sandy hollow, like a sparrow taking a dust bath. Blue Whisker watched her from the edge, her pelt prickling as though the thought of getting dusty horrified her. Slate looked up blearily from where she'd been dozing in the early morning sunshine. I'm coming. She got stiffly to her paws. Mothlight guessed that last night's gathering had left the she-cat sleepy. Her thick gray fur looked matted as though she hadn't even washed. Mothflight felt a flash of guilt. Perhaps she should let Slate rest. But Rocky had come to her den just as Spotted Fur and Retail were leaving for dawn patrol. He'd been awake all night with aching joints. She had to help him. She glanced at Honeypelt, her heart prickling as she remembered Tiny Branch. She wanted to gather her kits to her belly, as she had when they were newly born, and keep them safely wrapped against her. But they were growing. They wanted to run and explore. Rocky needs me right now. Fighting to save Tiny Branch's life had reminded her how important her duties were to her clan. Leaders talked of border patrols and battles. Medicine cats were the ones who had to heal the wounds afterwards. Unease itched beneath her pelt. Could she have saved Tiny Branch? What if Clear Sky had let Acorn Fur call her sooner? What if Windrunner hadn't delayed her at the 4 trees? What if I knew more? There was so much to be learned. She was determined to devote her life to her skill. It would help every cat. Mothflight? She half heard Spiderpaw's mew. She looked up as he repeated her name. Mothflight! He was plucking at the grass outside their den. Why can't we go onto the moor? Mothflight blinked at him, still half lost in her thoughts. What, dear? Why can't we go out onto the moor? Spiderpaw repeated crossly. There are buzzards out there that might carry you off, Mothflight reminded him. And foxes, and 2-legged dogs. It's not safe until you're big enough to run or fight. Honeypelt dropped into an attack pounce, wriggling his hindquarters, and leaped onto his brother. We can fight, he squeaked as Spiderpaw struggled beneath him. They rolled, wrestling across the grass. Be careful! Mothflight flinched as she saw Spiderpaw's unsheathed claws. When you're play fighting, remember to pull your claws in. Slate was padding across the clearing, her shoulders drooping. She looks so tired. Mothflight frowned. I hope she doesn't fall asleep while I'm gone. She glanced around the camp, hoping to find another cat willing to watch her kits while she tended to Rocky. The clearing was deserted. Windrunner had assigned patrols for the day. Gorsefur had taken Stormpelt, Dunose, and Swift Minnow to flush out rabbits from their burrows on the moor top. Thus Muzzle and Fernleaf had led a patrol towards the gorge to find lapwings, while Jagged Peak and Holly had gone to gather heather for new nests. Only StarClan knew where Willowtail was.
Pale Tabby hardly seemed to be in camp at all these days. Spotted Fur and Retail were sharing prey at the far end of camp. Mothflight blinked at them hopefully, but they were deep in conversation, lying in the long grass, relaxing after their dawn patrol. Windrunner lay, stretched on the rocks beside the entrance. Mothflight narrowed her eyes. There was no way she was asking her mother for help. They hadn't spoken since the gathering the night before. Slate would have to do. Mothflight watched the gray she-cat settle awkwardly beside the sandy hollow. "Call me if you need me," Mothflight told her, hoping she wouldn't. She ducked into her den and pulled a wad of comfrey from her herb store. She gathered it yesterday and it was nicely wilted. It would be easy to wrap around Rocky's stiff joints. She'd gather more later and line Rocky's nest. She was about to grab the bundle between her jaws when she hesitated. Glancing back into her stores, she grabbed a few extra leaves and rolled them up with the comfrey. Oh my god, did she get catnip for him? Then she padded into the sunshine and crossed the tussocks to Rocky's den. She was pleased that her clanmates had woven a shelter for the old Tom. Holly was an expert at threading gorse and brambles into roofs and walls. Mothflight had been dimly aware of the building work while she'd nursed her kits. She'd heard Holly's mew ensuing instructions and ordering her clanmates to find more stems and sprigs for the den. She'd even made sure any gaps had been filled with moss and leaves, so that, as Mothflight padded inside, shadows swept her sun-warm pelt. Rocky blinked at her through the gloom. "Mothflight!" His mew was tight. "He must be in a lot of pain." "I'm sorry I've been so long." Mothflight dropped the comfrey guiltily beside his den. "I have to find someone to watch my kits." Rocky grunted. "I wish I could watch them for you." "You can, once these herbs start to make you feel better." She unrolled the bundle and hooked out the extra leaves she'd tucked among them. "Eat these." She laid the leaves on the side of his nest. Rocky's eyes gleamed. "Catmint!" "I thought it helped." Rocky purred, lapping them up. As he closed his eyes contently, Mothflight leaned into his nest and began wrapping his hind legs with the comfrey. "Once the sap seeps through your fur, the pain will start to ease," she promised. "We need to make sure that your nest is lined with comfrey in the future. Now that Whitetail, Silverstripe, and Blackear are old enough to go onto the moor, I'm sure they'll be happy to gather fresh leaves for you. Soon they'll be old enough to become apprentices." Wait, when did they decide that? Apprentices. Maybe it's just an unofficial thing? They haven't. Oh. Soon they'll be old enough to become apprentices, Mothflight thought, wondering which of the older cats would be chosen to teach the adolescents the finer points of hunting and caring for the clan. Ah, I see. It seemed like just yesterday she was helping fish Silverstripe out from the tunnel. It's amazing how fast kids grow. Rocky was still purring. Pleasure warmed Mothflight's pelt. Last night, as she'd fought to save Tiny Branch, she'd felt powerless. Now satisfaction moved deep in her belly as she eased her clanmate's pain. "Mothflight!" A pained shriek sounded outside. She dropped the comfrey and darted from her den. Beside the tall rock, at the head of the sandy hollow, Slate crouched over Blue Whisker. The kit was lying motionless on the ground. Spiderpaw and Honeypelt pressed around Slate while Bubbling Stream hung back, her eyes wide with shock. "Oh, what happened?" Mothflight raced to Blue Whisker's side. The kit was unconscious. Slate blinked, her gaze cloudy. I'm not sure. I just closed my eyes for a moment and..." Honeypelt cut in. "She wanted to climb to the top." He looked up at the tall rock. "She wanted to stand where Windrunner stands when she talks to the clan." Mothflight sniffed Blue Whisker's pelt, feeling for heat that betrayed swelling. Blue Whisker blinked open her eyes. "Mothflight?" Mothflight's throat tightened. "Where does it hurt?" she asked sharply. "Nowhere." Blue Whisker's breath was shallow. Are you sure? Mothflight ran her paws over the kit's white and yellow pelt, feeling for injuries. Blue Whisker struggled to her paws, swaying slightly. I'm okay, she whispered. Slate stared at the kit. She was just winded. Are you sure you're okay? Mothflight's heart pounded in her ears. Blue Whisker met her gaze. I'm sure. Relief flooded Mothflight. She jerked her muzzle towards Slate. Why were you watching? Slate coughed. I'm sorry. I'm not feeling too well. Why didn't you say anything? Frustration sparked in Mothflight's fur. Was she supposed to do everything? Take care of Rocky and watch her own kids? She swallowed back anger. Perhaps she should have asked Reedtail to tend to Rocky, or swallowed her pride and asked Windrunner to watch her kids.
Yeah.
Angrily, she turned on Blue Whisker. What were you doing climbing the rug? Didn't you realize it was dangerous? Honeypelt patted in front of his sister.
She saw me do it yesterday,
He told her. Mothflight blinked. You climbed it yesterday?
I did too.
Spiderpaw lifted his chin.
And me.
Bubbling Stream told her. Mothflight stared at them. Why hadn't she noticed?
It was while you were at the gathering,
Honeypelt told her, as though reading her thoughts. Did Rocky let you?
He said we were too timid, and that Michael would have had us hunting on the moor by now.
Spiderpaw glanced guiltily towards Rocky's den.
Promised to catch us if we fell.
Bubbling Stream patted closer.
He wouldn't let Blue Whisker climb. He said she wasn't ready.
So she decided to try it today. Mothflight glared at Blue Whisker. Blue Whisker's eyes glistened. I'm sorry, she whimpered. Honeypelt puffed out his chest.
I didn't see her climbing, or I'd stopped her.
But you didn't. Mothflight shifted her paws. Why should you? He was only a kid. He wasn't responsible for Blue Whisker's safety. I am. Is she okay? Her mother's voice took her by surprise. Mothflight glanced over her shoulder and saw Windrunner stalking across the hollow. Reedtail and Spotted-Fur hurried after her. She's fine, Mothflight told them, just winded. As she spoke, she was suddenly aware of heat pulsing from Slate's pelt. She sniffed at the she-cat and smelled the sour scent of fever. You should go rest in your den, she told her softly, guilt prickling beneath her pelt. Slate didn't argue, but padded slowly away. Mothflight jerked her muzzle towards Blue Whisker. Go and play with your litter mates. She watched her kids head away. Tails drooped. Spotted-Fur trotted after them.
Why don't we have a game of moss ball? He called.
Honeypelt turned, his gaze brightening.
Can I be on your team? I want to be on Spotted-Fur's team.
Bubbling Stream raced towards the golden tom and clambered up onto his shoulders. Spiderpaw glanced at Blue Whisker.
You can be on my team, he purred. We'll beat them easily.
Mothflight dragged her gaze away, gratitude soothing the tension in her belly. Thank you, Spotted-Fur. Reedtail's mew pierced her thoughts. He was watching Slate disappear into her den. What's wrong with her? I think she's caught a chill, Mothflight guessed, still distracted by her kits. I'll go check on her, Reedtail offered. Mothflight flicked her tail towards Rocky's den. Will you finish putting comfrey on Rocky's joints first? I've given him catmint to lift his spirits, but he's still in a lot of pain. Of course. Reedtail patted away. Mothflight looked at Windrunner. Her mother had sat down and was staring at her. It's not easy, is it? What? Mothflight stiffened. A snarl edged Windrunner's mew. Her mother eyed her coldly, making sure every cat is safe and well. Mothflight prickled. What are you trying to say? You think I'm wrong for rejecting SkyClan, but I'm doing it because I think it's best for all of us. It wasn't best for Tiny Branch. Mothflight lifted her chin. He died. She saw Windrunner flinch, but the WindClan leader didn't soften her gaze. I presume you tried to save him. Of course! But you couldn't. I might have if Clear Sky had allowed Acorn Fur to ask for help earlier. Mothflight flattened her ears. Or if you hadn't tried to stop us from going to help. Really? Windrunner narrowed her eyes. I don't know, Mothflight snapped. I never will, and neither will Clear Sky. That's how it feels to be a leader, Windrunner growled. You make the best decision you can, but you can't be sure how it'll turn out. I've seen what Clear Sky's capable of. I fought in the Great Battle. Not because I wanted to fight, but because not fighting would have destroyed the clans. How? Mothlight didn't understand. How could peace hurt any cat? Clear Sky's hunger for more power. We would have lived like prey if we hadn't stood up to him. Windrunner's tail twitched. No cat should live like prey. Clear Sky's changed. How do you know? I watched him grieve for his kit. A low growl rumbled in Windrunner's throat. I've grieved for kits. Do you think it softened me? Mothflight glared at her mother. I wish it had. Oh. I like Mothflight. She's got a mouth on her. Windrunner thrust her muzzle forward, rage blazing in her yellow eyes. Every decision I make is for the good of the clan. You may think I'm wrong, but never dare to question me again. Mothflight ducked just in time to avoid her mother's lashing tail as the Wind Clan leader turned and stalked away. Mothflight watched her go, her belly hollow. How could Windrunner stand by her decision to shun SkyClan? A kid had died! She curled her claws into the sandy earth. I'd do the same again and again. A leader might let a cat die, but I'm not a leader. I'm a medicine cat. She glanced across the clearing and guessed that Reedtail must still be dressing Rocky's aching joints. She'd see to Slate herself. She padded towards the she-cat's den and ducked inside. Slate was alone, lying in her nest, eyes closed. Mothflight leaned close, shocked by how much heat pulsed from the she-cat's pelt. Slate's eyes flickered open, then she coughed. Jerking, she struggled to her paws, the cough taking hold of her and shaking her body. Mothflight reached out a paw to steady the she-cat as she rocked. How had Slate grown so ill so quickly? Mothflight widened her eyes, adjusting to the gloomy den, and saw stains of darkening the moss beneath Slate's chin. Blood! Mothflight backed away, heart lurching. Fur brushed the gorse entrance and she turned to see Reedtail slide in. That cough sounds bad. The Tom blinked at her, stiffening as he read her gaze. What is it? Red cough. Mothflight breathed. Reedtail glanced at Slate, stiffening. Do you have any of the bark left from when Rock? Mothflight didn't let him finish. Her thoughts were whirling. The sap dried up and flaked off moons ago. She needs fresh. But how do we get it? I'll go. But it's in SkyClan territory. So? Mothflight looked at him. Last night I tried to save Tiny Branch's life. But he died. I know he died! Mothflight snapped. But Clear Sky saw us trying to save his kit. That must count for something, even to a clan leader. Bitterness rose in her throat. She pushed past Reedtail. Look after Slate. I'll be back as soon as I can. She raced from the den and charged across the tussocks. Mothlight! Spotted called from outside her den. She skidded to a halt, impatience burning in her paws. What? Honey Pelt and Bubbling Stream were wrestling on the grass while Blue Whisker and Spiderpaw poked through the freshly stocked prey pile. Gorsefur, Stormpelt, Dunose, Fernleaf, and Swift Minnow were back in camp. They lounged at the edge of the clearing, sharing a rabbit. Spotted Fur headed towards her. Where are you going? Mothflight scanned the camp for Windrunner before answering. There was no sign of the Wind Clan leader. You look worried. Spotted Fur stopped in front of her. Slate's got red cough. Mothflight told him. I'm going to get some of that bark I got for Rocky when... She stopped, her breath catching in her throat. She swayed on her paws when Micah died. She'd been so worried about Slate she hadn't thought about it until now. Grief wrenched her heart. I'm coming with you. Spotted Fur brushed against her flank, steadying her. Mothflight looked at him, feeling suddenly sick. I can't go back there. Windrunner will be angry if we cross the border, she murmured numbly. So will Clear Sky if he catches us. Spotted Fur's gaze didn't waver. We just have to make sure we don't get caught. Mothflight stared into his amber eyes. Her thoughts slowed. She steadied her breath. She must get the bark. Slate needed it. She lifted her chin. Are you ready? Yes. Spotted Fur turned and called Swift Minnow. We need to gather herbs. Can you look after the kids? Swift Minnow stretched languidly. Of course. Horsefur clambered to his paws, kicking the remains of Rabbit towards Stormpaw. I'll watch him. Yeah. Wait. I'll watch him, he offered. I can show him some hunting moves. Bubbling Stream looked up from the prey pile excitedly. Will you take us up to the burrows? Not today, Gray Horsefur purred. Hanging out with Grandpa! Mothflight's heart was fluttering like caught prey. Micah, how could she go back there? Panic spiraled in her mind. Come on. She needed to run before fear crippled her. She raced for the camp entrance and burst onto the moorside. Spotted Fur's paws pounded behind her as she raced down the slope and shouldered her way into the heather. Mothflight! Spotted Fur called. Use the trails! She headed blindly for his voice, crashing through the purple branches until she glimpsed him. Ducking behind, she followed as he swerved among the stems. As she exploded onto the grass, she pushed hard against the earth, her gaze fixed on the forest where SkyClan's border edged the moor. She was panting by the time they reached it, her pelt spiky by the wind. Slowly, Spotted Fur pulled up. Spotted Leaf pulled up. Mothflight spun, her paws skidding on the smooth grass. Let's be careful, Spotted Fur warned. Nothing's gonna stop me from getting the bark, Mothflight glared at him. Micah would understand how she felt. He'd been with her last time she'd made the trip. Her heart swelled with fresh grief. Spotted Fur glanced along the border, his nose twitching as he scented for patrols. He stiffened, his gaze flashing towards striped fur showing amid the ferns. Wait, he hissed. Crouching, he pushed himself towards the tabby pelt. Mothflight watched him, frustrated by the delay. Suddenly, his shoulders loosened and he straightened. That's only Willowtail. As he spoke, the wind-clan she-cat padded from the fronds. What are you doing here? Oh, what are you doing here? Spotted Fur asked her. Windtail sniffed. Just making sure those prey stealers haven't crossed the border again. She narrowed her eyes. What are you doing here? We've come to get bark for Slate. Mothflight marched past her. She's got red cough. I'll come with you. Willowtail sounded excited. Wait. Spotted Fur ducked in front of Mothflight, blocking her path. We can't all go rushing into SkyClan's land. They'll think it's an invasion. He tipped his head, his gaze resting on Willowtail. We need you to wait here. If we don't come back, fetch help. Willowtail's eyes widened eagerly. Good idea. Mothflight headed through the ferns. You should have given her a timeline. Well then, Spotted Fur. The last thing she needed was another cat under her paws. Pointless mission would keep Willowtail busy. She headed through the forest, forcing herself to remember the route Micah had taken last time they were here. She recognized a fallen log and scrambled over it, her heart twisting inside her chest as she pictured Micah leaping it with ease. Are we going the right way? Spotted Fur hissed under his breath. The golden Tom's ears were pricked, his mouth open for warning sense. Yes. Mothflight pushed on, each paw step feeling heavier than the last, until the trees thinned and she saw the hollow where Micah had died. Her paws turned to stone. She stopped and stared down, grief swamping her. A few shards of splintered branch still flecked the ground. Spotted Fur's pelt brushed hers. Slate needs that bark, he murmured. She dragged her gaze towards the highest branch of the tree at the center of the glade. Up there, she murmured hoarsely. We need to get it from the top, where the bark is the softest. You wait here. Spotted Fur bounded down the slope and leaped for the trunk. Heaving himself onto the branches, he disappeared among the leaves. Mothflight watched the tree tremble as he climbed. Her heart seemed to beat in her throat. Sparrow, as suffocating as the day Micah had died. Or sorrow, not Sparrow. Sorrow, as suffocating as the day Micah had died, pressed into her chest. She stood motionless, as though her paws had sprouted roots and fixed her into the earth. She shook out her pelt. Warning Micah again won't change anything. He'd be proud I came here. This felt like his tree now. The leaves rustled and Spotted Fur's pelt showed beneath them. A moment later, he was scooting down the trunk, strips of bark clasped between his jaws. He hurried towards her. The tang of sap sent thorns of pain jabbing through her heart. Oh god, I thought I saw a spider fall. It was the scent she'd smelt as Micah died. Spotted Fur nudged her from the glade. His eyes were half closed, streaming from the pungent scent. Streaming. Mothflight led him through the woods, staying close to guide him past stray brambles and rutted earth. As they neared the border, she scented heather and quickened her pace. Paw steps scuffed the earth behind them. Mothflight froze. Where are you going? A hostile mew made her turn. Nettle was staring at her across a patch of blueberries. Birch and Alder flanked him, their eyes narrowed aggressively. Spotted Fur spat out the bark, his hackles lifting. He pushed in front of Mothflight and faced the Sky Clan cats. She's come to get medicine for a sick clanmate. I thought Windrunner didn't recognize Sky Clan anymore. There was a sneer in Nettle's mew. Yet you still come to steal from us. Mothflight stepped forward. We're not stealing. We're taking bark, not prey. Just let us go. Slate might die without it. Alder curled her lip. No one's allowed to help Sky Clan, but Sky Clan must help you. We should all help each other. Rage pulsed beneath Mothflight's pelt. Birch tipped his head, his eyes glittering with curiosity. Don't you agree with Windrunner? Of course I don't agree. Mothflight held her tongue. She wasn't going to betray her mother or her clan. Just pretend you haven't seen us, Spotted Fur reasoned. It makes no difference to you whether we take the bark or not. Birch narrowed his eyes. I'm sick of WindClan telling us what to do. Alder padded closer. You'll come back to camp with us. And don't try to run. Clear Sky will only send a bigger patrol to fetch you. He'll want to know what you're doing on our land. But my clanmate's sick! Mothlight fought the urge to rake the gray and white she-cat's nose. Let's go with him. Spotted Fur breathed softly in her ear. Don't forget that you tried to save Clear Sky's kit. He might be more understanding than these fox hearts. Nettle glared at him. Stop whispering and get moving. The Sky Clan cats fell in beside them and began to herd them deeper into the forest. Mothflight glanced at the bark left behind on the forest floor. Its precious sap would be leaking into the earth. But if she could explain everything to Clear Sky as quickly as she could, there might be enough left to take back to Slate. She quickened her pace. You seem to be in a hurry, Alder snarled. I just want to sort this out and get home. She snapped back. She spotted the bramble barrier on the slope ahead. Birch had to break into a run to duck through the gap before her. As she emerged into the hollow, faces turned to stare. Sparrowfur got to her paws. Blossom blinked from the shadow of a yew. Mothflight's gaze flashed towards the earth where Tiny Branch had died last night. Leaves had been scattered over it, but dark blood stains still showed beneath. Yikes. She felt suddenly wary, her paws as heavy as stone. All she wanted was to help the cats around her, but every paw step seemed to lead her in another nettle patch. Clear Sky's in his den. Alder jerked her nose across the clearing. Spotted Fur can wait here while you speak to him. She steered Mothflight up the short, steep slope and through the trees beyond. Clear Sky? She paused and called into the shadows. The Sky Clan leader padded slowly out. Mothflight blinked. Clear Sky's eyes were hollow. His pelt was matted and slicked against his broad frame. He looked as though he'd been dragged from a river. Starflower followed him. Grief glistened, still fresh in her eyes. She stared blankly at Mothflight. What is she doing here? We found her on our land, Alder told the she-cat. She was with a clanmate. Clear Sky padded closer, confusion clouding his stricken gaze. No cat is allowed on Sky Clan land, he mumbled. I had to come. Mothflight told him. I need bark from the tree where Micah died. It's to cure a sick clanmate. She's got red cough. She might die. She waited for Clear Sky to understand, but he only stared at her. No cat is allowed on Sky Clan land, he repeated. I need the bark! Mothflight glared at him. I know you're grieving and I hate to disturb you. We don't want to disturb you. We just want to take the bark and go. No. Clear Sky slowly lifted his head, his gaze clearing. Last night, you tried to save Tiny Branch, and I will always be grateful for that. But if Windrunner hadn't tried to stop you from coming, my kit might still be alive. Windrunner has to realize there are consequences for her actions. She has to admit her mistake. Cold fear rippled along Mothlight's spine. There was darkness in the Sky Clan leader's words. Bro, he's about to let Greywing's mate die. Okay. I guess technically he doesn't know yet, but it shouldn't matter. Cold fear rippled along Mothlight's spine. There was darkness in the Sky Clan leader's words. He's capable of more cruelty than you can imagine.
Ivia!
Yeah, right? What are you gonna do? To you? His ears twitched. Nothing. Mothflight heard paw steps. Pelt moved at the edge of her vision. She smelled the scents of alder and redclaw as they closed in behind her. Clear Sky went on. You'll simply be our guest until Windrunner comes to fetch you. She won't come here. Panic flashed through Mothflight. She can't come here. It's not safe. She must.
Thank you for the follow. I'm good. I hope you're good too.
She has stolen prey herself. And why? Mothflight stared at him. Did he expect an answer? He went on. She has listened to the word of a rogue and believed it over word of a mountain cat. He glanced at Starflower. It's hardly surprising. Windrunner was a rogue herself once. What are you talking about? Mothflight felt lost. What rogue? Willowtail. Mothflight shifted her paws uneasily. What do you mean? I've been talking to Redclaw, Clear Sky told her. He and Willowtail go back a long way. Willowtail has been lying for moons. She's been spreading half-truths and stirring up trouble just to settle scores that have nothing to do with the clans. Yeah, I figured that. Mothflight shifted her paws nervously. She had no idea what Clear Sky was saying, if what Clear Sky was saying was true, but she could see a way out. Why don't I go and tell Windrunner this? I can take the bark back with me. No! Clear Sky snarled. You will stay here until Windrunner comes to me, admits her mistake, and banishes Willowtail from her clan. She'll never do that. The words burst out before Mothflight could stop them. Windrunner was far too proud to come groveling to Clear Sky, and too proud to banish Willowtail. By banishing Willowtail, Windrunner would be admitting that she had made a mistake by letting the she-cat join her clan. It simply wasn't something Windrunner would do. She will. Clear Sky meowed. We just have to wait. How long are you going to keep me prisoner? Mothflight snarled. Her thoughts skipped from Slate to her kits. How dare he keep her from them? They needed him. For as long as it takes. Mothflight glared at the Sky Clan leader. You can't do this. His tail twitched menacingly. This is my territory. He growled. I can do anything I like. Woof.
I think that's a good... I did it, guys! I did it! I read it!
That's a good place to stop, too. Seven more chapters. Until the end. Da-na-na-na-na-na. It feels like you read 500 chapters, doesn't it? The chapters were long. The first and second chapter were very long. I'm gonna count how many pages they were. 21, That one was like... That one was actually less pages. Okay, this one was long. Actually, they're like pretty much the same size. They're like just about 20 pages. The one I just read was 20 pages. The one that I felt was not as long was actually quite shorter than the others. Surprisingly, surprise. I think. Maybe I don't know how to count. That's 10. No, it's like the same. Huh, crazy. Okay, guys, I'm gonna head off. I'm gonna take a nap, I think. Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully? Tomorrow's the 1st, right? No, the 1st is on Friday. We'll probably hang out. There's gonna be a big event on the 2nd to the 3rd for Everwinter. It's like the after party. So we'll probably log on there to try and get a reindeer picture. I have to ask them what time. What time are you guys? Deep tie. Hi, Caddy. It's bedtime. Or actually, I'm gonna make some more warrior cat. No. I'm gonna nap and then I'm gonna make some more warrior cats. In Omodachi life. Cat. Okay, bye guys. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow, where we will, I don't know, I guess play more Deadlock. Maybe I can find some game I can play. I don't know. Bye.